Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship predictions for some massive games coming up this weekend. Before we get into this video, you know the drill. Do make sure to smash that like button if you like your Championship content. We'll go for 493 likes on this one. And once again, do subscribe if you haven't already. I'm joined by Sophie. What about last night?
I'm still not over it, to be honest. Super Ben Wilson up front.
Honestly, the goalkeeper scoring for Coventry. I'm not
insane.
Not going to live that down. Honestly, unbelievable scenes. Do get your predictions down below. Just bear in mind there is 11 predictions to come today because Sheffield United are still in the FA Cup, so their game against Huddersfield has been rearranged. Let's get straight into the Championship predictions, Sophie, starting with Birmingham City up against Blackpool. Blackpool are still in the mess and they lost to West Brom, which just pushes them a little bit closer to the drop after they'd beaten Wigan. Blackpool need to win this. They really need to win this, but Birmingham City got a great win at the Den.
They did.
They beat Millwall when it seemed like Millwall had so much more to play for than Birmingham. And in this game, Blackpool have got so much more to play for than Birmingham. But I'm going to go for Birmingham to cause havoc again. I think Birmingham City have got to be the favourites. They look more solid. Blackpool just look like they're heading towards League One. I'm going to go for the Blues to win 1-0.
Yeah, I think it's game over for Blackpool now. And with Blues, they've got nothing to play for, but they're clearly still playing all right football. I mean, I say all right because it was a fair bit of time wasting against Millwall, and I know some of their fans weren't too happy with the performance, but they got the 3 points, and that's what a dogged kind of Championship team does. And I feel like they're kind of going to do the same against Blackpool. So for me, they're going to win 2-1. 2-1
Birmingham. Okay, interesting. We'll move on to the next game, which involves another team down near the bottom, Rotherham United, going away to Bristol City. Bristol City are so hit and miss. They've not been great recently. Meanwhile, Rotherham, to get a 2-2 against Burnley is a brilliant result. Yeah. And Rotherham have been picking up points against some of the top sides. So going away to a mid-table Bristol City who are out of form, I fancy Rotherham. And I think if Rotherham win this, they're over the line. I'm going to go for Rotherham to win comfortably 2-0 Millers.
Okay, go on you Millers. I actually fancy a draw. I feel like these teams are, in my opinion, at the moment, evenly matched. I can see why you're backing Rotherham, as that was a great result against Burnley. I'm going to take nothing away from that. But Bristol City on their day, I think they're quite a good team as well. So that's why I'm going to have it as a draw. 1-1.
1-1. Okay, interesting. We'll move on to Turf Moor next, where we've got Burnley, who are looking brilliant, but then the last 2 games have only been draws, so it's not at their best, but then what do you... It's a weird one, isn't it?
Have they taken their foot off the gas?
They're over the line now, so you can't criticise them. But to drop points to Rotherham and Reading is not like Burnley, but then again, we'll see how many points they get at the end of the season. It'll still be an amazing amount, I'm sure. I fancy them to beat QPR. QPR did get a good 1-1 against Norwich, which has just kept them above that dotted line, but I don't see QPR getting anything here. I think QPR need to hope other results go their way this weekend. I'm going Burnley to go back to winning ways comfortably. 3-0.
Yeah, for me, as I was just saying, I think Burnley might have taken their foot off the gas a little bit as they've got it over the line now. They're going to finish top for me, there's no doubt about it. And I feel like there's no pressure on their shoulders anymore. With QPR, there's a little bit of pressure. They did get a draw, so that's a point on the board, which they desperately needed. Coming up against Burnley, well, they kind of think, oh, it's already... They're not going to take anything from this. They just need to control the goal difference, which I think they will. So for me, Burnley will win, but just by 1 goal. 1-0.
Really?
Yeah.
Just 1-0. Interesting. Okay, next up we go down to South Wales as Cardiff City take on Stoke City. This is an interesting one because Cardiff City got a great win away at Watford, 3-1. And I think we've said for a while we think Cardiff should be all right to stay up, but they just haven't been getting the results. Now they have, and if they follow it up with something here, they look like they might be all right come the end of the season. Stoke City, since their brilliant run of smashing up teams like Sunderland and Coventry, have been dropping off it, and they lost at home to Wigan. How about that? I'm more likely to go for Cardiff, but I will go for a draw. I think Stoke still possess a threat, and I don't think a draw's a disaster for Cardiff. So I'm going to go for a share of the spoils on this one. 1-1.
Do you know what? I'm going to back Cardiff to win again. I think that was a great performance against Watford. They're fighting for their lives, even though I think they're safe. I've said it for a while. I know mathematically they're not, but I just feel like they are going to stay up. Stoke, I think they've just settled for mid-table now because they've got nothing to play for, to be honest. So for me, that's why Cardiff are going to win. 2-1.
2-1 Cardiff. Okay, next up, Sophie, we go to the CBS. Coventry City take on Reading. Do bear in mind, Reading have picked up a couple of results recently, so even though they're in the bottom three, they're fighting. Since they've got rid of Paul Ince, they picked up a draw against Burnley and a draw against Luton. You know, that's two of the best teams in the division.
Yeah, that's actually really good results. I know people are like, oh, it's only a draw, but no, they're against really good teams.
Yeah, honestly, to get draws against those teams is almost like a win. But they did get Andy Carroll sent off, which could be a big miss because he did get the goal against Luton. As for Coventry City, the playoffs are still on. We would have rather have beaten Blackburn, but we'll take a draw given the circumstances, and a last-minute goal with Ben Wilson kind of keeps the positivity and the momentum going a little bit here for Coventry. I just cannot see a way in which Coventry make the playoffs if we don't win this one. We have to win this one. We have to win it, Sophie. I don't think it'll be easy because Reading have been improving, but I think being at home, if the fans really get behind us and we get a good crowd, we'll win this, and I think it could just take us into the top 6 going into the next couple of games. I'm going to go Coventry to win 2-1.
Okay, you think we'll concede? I actually don't. I'm fairly confident that we'll keep a clean sheet against Reading. I think without Maradona, Andy Carroll, they are going to kind of lack that strength going forwards, as he has been putting a few away for them this season and been playing fairly well. So I think that is going to be a bit of a big miss, and we need a win to keep this playoff hope alive, and I feel like we're going to do it. 2-0.
2-0 Sky Blues. Yeah. We're both positive, so we'll see how that one plays out. Next up we go to Hull City, who take on Watford. Both sides lost 3-1 in midweek. Hull City did go away to Middlesbrough. They did take the lead, and it looked like Hull were up to their old tricks again by beating a top team in this division, but they did actually lose that game. Yeah. Middlesbrough really turned on the style in the space of 5 or 10 minutes. Watford also went 1-0 up and capitulated at home to Cardiff City. So two sides that can be okay, but can be quite bad at times as well. But I think I feel more confident back in Hull City. They are at home, and in terms of the big picture, they're more happy to finish mid-table than Watford are. Yeah. So I feel like there's more going for Hull City at this moment in time. I'm going to go for the Tigers, 1-0.
Yeah, do you feel like there's a bit of pressure on Wilder already? You know, with Watford,
yeah,
get about 5 games and then you're out.
Playoffs are slipping away now.
I agree. Saying that, Hull City, before their last game, they have been taking points off some of the big teams, and it's worked to our advantage, to be honest. So I've liked Hull City for that, and that's why I'm going to back them this weekend. 3-2.
Ooh,
Goalfest.
Entertainment. I like it. Okay, next up we go to Carrow Road, and this could be entertaining as Norwich City take on Swansea City. Russell Martin returning to Carrow Road, and he is getting a good tune out of the Swansea City boys at the moment. So much so that it's not actually impossible they could make the playoffs. It's not likely, but it's not impossible. If they were to win their final 3 games, I think it would get them to about 68 points, which might be enough if everyone keeps tripping up, points, but we'll see. And it's a massive opportunity for them to try and catch up to Norwich City here with a win. Norwich haven't been great. A 1-1 against QPR. Before that, they were smashed at Middlesbrough. I think I'm going to back Swansea here. They've been really good lately. 2-1 to the Swans.
Yeah, do you know what? I think Swansea, on their day, are looking very, very good, and they're hitting a good run of form at the end of the season, and the season's not over yet, especially with the playoffs being so close that you can't rule them out. Norwich at this point, you can't rule them out either, but I feel like they need to be putting in some better performances, not just getting the points on the board. They're just not playing as well as they should, to be honest, and Swansea are a team that are. So for me, this could be a bit of a one-sided game, and I feel like it is. 3-0 to the Swans.
Wow, 3-0 Swansea. Okay. Right, this is an absolutely massive game between bottom side Wigan Athletic and Millwall. Millwall have been slipping up a little bit recently. If Wigan lose, they are relegated. There's no two ways about it. That is literally it. Mathematically, if they lose this one, they are done. If they draw, they'll be relying on other results. So realistically, they need to win this, and they probably just need to win their final 3. They did keep their hopes alive with a win at Stoke City, and they might actually fancy their chances against the Millwall team. They've been good over the course of the season, but now that we're in the homeward stretch and they're in the playoffs and they should be trying to secure it, they're really slipping up. I'm going to go for it, Soph. Wigan 1, Millwall 0.
Oh, I'm going to back a draw, actually, and I feel like it's because both teams, in my opinion, need to win. So I feel like we're really going to be fighting for it. Millwall should be fighting for it as well, but they have just taken a bit of a dip in form when they can't afford to. And I feel like that's going to continue over the weekend. So 1-1 for me.
1-1. Do you know what surprises me, Saif? I backed Millwall to finish 6th before the season started. And it looked like a good prediction, but if they keep going the way they are, they might just fall out at the end. So Millwall fans really need their team to get that next win soon. Next up, we'll move on to Deepdale. This is possibly the best game of the weekend. Preston North End versus Blackburn Rovers. Two sides right involved in the playoff mix. But they both come into this not in great form. Preston had been in good form before 2 defeats on the spin. They lost to Millwall, which was very disappointing, and then they lost to Swansea City 4-2, which has kind of pushed Preston back to the outside of the playoff battle, but they're still involved, and if they win this, they'll overtake Blackburn. Blackburn, I think, can be good. They played well against Coventry. They'll probably think they're unfortunate not to win that. They played well against Hull City. Probably unfortunate not to win that. So it seems to be a recurring theme, and I actually think this could be a Preston win. Preston 2-1.
Do you know, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say a Blackburn 1-0. I see this being a really tight game. Again, in my opinion, to sit like comfortably within the playoffs, I think they need a win, either team. But for me, I feel like on their day, Blackburn just have a little bit more quality. I do feel like in the past couple of results, they have been a little bit unfortunate, and Preston just seem to be dropping off it a little bit. And that's why I'm going to give the win to the Rovers. So 1-0.
1-0 Rovers, interesting. Okay, next up we go to the Hawthorns. Once again, it's two teams battling for the playoffs. West Brom versus Sunderland. It's Sunday's game, and this is a big one.
Another big one.
West Brom maybe just giving themselves a bit of hope here after those back-to-back away wins at Stoke City and Blackpool have fired them right up into the top 7 now. And against Sunderland, who are just behind them, this is a big one. I feel like the loser of this might just be out of it, but the winner is right in it. And I don't know if a draw is good for either team, so they might as well both go for it. I'm going to go West Brom 1-0.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to back the Baggies as well. I feel like Sunderland at times have real good quality. They've got some quality players. Even without Stewart, they're still getting the results. And I don't know, I just feel like Baggies' form at the moment cannot be ignored, and that's why I'm going to have to back the home team. So for me, Baggies win 1-0.
Baggies win 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay, the final game is a good one. It's two very good teams, Luton Town versus Middlesbrough. Not a lot riding on this one. The winner will be able to try and keep up a pursuit of Sheffield United, but it looks quite unlikely that. But yeah, they're both going to be in the playoffs, and it could be a bit of a rehearsal for a playoff match here. They could both be playing in the playoff final. I can't separate them. Luton Town have been solid, but I was a bit confused how they only managed a draw against Reading. But Middlesbrough have been turning it on in the last couple of games, but then susceptible to the odd draw or defeat here. So I'll go for a really entertaining Luton 2, Middlesbrough 2.
Okay, I feel like the Hatters will want me to go against them, because recently when I've been backing them to win, they've not been getting the win. But sorry guys, I'm going to back you to win. I do think this is going to be a really interesting game, and as you say, it could boil down to these two playing in the playoff final. But yeah, I'm going to back the Hatters in this one. I do think it's going to be a good game. There could be a few more goals than I'm going to predict, but I don't know, it's two really good teams going at it. But I'm going to say 2-1 to the Hatters.
2-1 to the Hatters. There you go. That wraps up the Championship predictions, guys. Do make sure to look out for the Premier League predictions coming out tomorrow at lunchtime. It will involve the 2 FA Cup semi-finals as well. Do make sure, of course, to drop a like and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.